Hello and welcome to Top Story. A simmering crisis in Poland has come to a head with the decision of Prime Minister Jarosław Kaczynski to sack 4 junior coalition ministers from the government. In a televised address from the office of President Lech Kaczynski, his twin brother, the Prime Minister said it meant the end of the ruling Law and Justice Party's cooperation with the rural-based Self-Defense Party and the Nationalist League of Polish Families. The crisis has been brewing since early July, when Kaczynski sacked coalition partner Andrzej Leper from the government on suspicion of corruption. Leper is the leader of the Self-Defense Party. The coalition has been fractured by bitter infighting ever since. The decision to end the coalition makes elections in October or November almost inevitable, as the government no longer has a majority in parliament. But holding elections 2 years ahead of schedule is a gamble for the Kaczynski twins. Polls show them trailing well behind the opposition Civic Platform Party. Well, joining me now to discuss the significance of Monday's decision is Piotr Mosiński of Radio France International and Newsweek Poland. Thanks very much for being on Top Story. Why do you think the Kaczynski brothers have taken this decision now, or was it simply a question of having no choice in the matter?
This is a question of having no choice in the matter. They tried to govern Poland with 2 extreme parties, Self-Defense and the League of Polish Families. But even at the very beginning of this government, everybody was saying, the specialists, the experts, that it couldn't hold very long because they have both parties, and especially both party leaders, had personal ambitions, and Leper was obviously preparing himself to the presidential elections. That's why the Kaczynski brothers considered probably that it would be fine to end his political career now.
And they've been fighting each other almost non-stop for the past several months.
Almost non-stop, at every pretext possible, and of course, especially under the corruption banner. Leper was accused exactly of this in a corruption affair without any evidence.
I suppose the big question now is, are early elections going to happen, and if so, when are they going to happen?
There are 2 possibilities, in October and in November, so in autumn.
So it's inevitable.
It's inevitable. There are 2 methods of achieving it. The first and the most simple and the most rapid is the parliament's self-dissolution. But to have it, the parliament itself should vote at the level of 2/3. It's not certain. It's not certain because the 2 main parties, Law and Justice of Kaczynski brothers and the main opposition party of the Liberal Civic Platform, have together 61%. And they will need 26 voices more to have the parliament's self-dissolution. Everything will depend on the decision of the left, of the alliance of the left, who demands the creation of a parliamentary commission at the subject of anti-corruption police created by the Kaczynski brothers.
This is a bit of a gamble, too, for the Kaczynski brothers. However difficult it may have been working with the junior coalition partners, by going to the polls so early, there is a very good chance that they could lose them. The polls nationwide are showing the Civic Platform Party something like 14% ahead of Law and Justice. It is a big gamble.
It's a big gamble, but they are gamblers. Don't forget. They had exactly the same situation 2 years ago. The Civic Platform was sure of winning the elections, and they have lost. And so Law and Justice made in 2005 an excellent campaign, and they won't probably reproduce the main effect. But the great question is whether the polls will accept the same slogans. I'm not sure. because as far as I see for a moment, the same slogans will be used: anti-corruption, decommunization, but Poles are quite annoyed.
How are they going to feel about the Kaczynski's record in government? Because it's a mixed bag. On the one hand, the economy is doing quite well, but there's been a lot of internal political turmoil, bad relations with the EU.
No. That's the great Polish paradox. You have an excellent economical situation, and at the same time, the government is forced to dismiss, after 2 years on power. Why? I think Poles are not feeling that the good economical situation is the virtue of this government, who really doesn't occupy himself of the economy. In fact, the economical politics of Kaczynski brothers is quite liberal. They literally let economy go itself. Themselves, they think rather of anti-corruption, corruption fighting, of spectacular police actions, of being present in the media. So Poles have this impression that the good economical situation is due firstly to the arrival of European funds, to the fact that many Poles working abroad are sending money to the country, so the investment situation is very good, and the financial situation of the country is very good as well.
There's been a lot of criticism of the style of the government of the Kaczynski twins, accusations in particular that it's too authoritarian. Is that, how does that play with the Polish people, though?
They are too authoritarian. I mean, both Kaczynski brothers, but especially Jarosław, who is prime minister and who is a dominating twin in this pair, is really his style is to be a sole leader. He really doesn't consult his decisions with any other politician except perhaps his brother. But he's working in a very lonely style. That's why he's authoritarian.
Okay, that's all we have time for today. Thanks very much to Piotr Maszyński of Newsweek Poland. Join us again tomorrow for another edition of Top Story. Goodbye.